This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we are the ones that encourage you to like and share them on social media and with all of your friends and neighbors, because it's time for the African American Scene, presented by independent insurance agent Rudy Howard, who is also the host of this show.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Monday night. I'm used to saying Wednesday night, but it's Monday night. And will be for a while. Sorry I missed you last week, but I was recently appointed to the YMCA board, and we had our board orientation last Monday, so I had to attend that. But I'm back with you tonight. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on. I would like to hear from some of you about, I saw a thing on Facebook recently, and they said, if you could have one wish in the world could be granted, what would it be? And several people put, get rid of Joe Biden. And one person put, kill Joe Biden. I'm like, why? Why such vitriol about the other side? And, you know, we try to talk about that, and I'm always trying to talk about it because I'm really interested in why you are so heavily wed to Trumpism, but I can't get anybody to tell the truth. I think I know why, but no one seems to want to be able to fess up to that. But I'm always open to hear that. If you can tell me why you are so wedded to the Trumpster when he lies to you on a continuous basis and has a fragile ego and is somewhat of a braggart, in my opinion. But most importantly, until Trump came in office, one of the number one complaints I heard from conservatives is that minorities act like victims. And victimology is a very poor thing for people who are Americans. And the only thing Trump does on a continuous basis is act like a victim. And I think that's just really very sad. But anyway. That number again is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. The last time I was on, I got a couple of charges, and I followed through on them. One, somebody wanted to know when I told him that Reagan imposed the taxes on our Social Security. He wasn't seeming to believe that. Well, let me just tell you the reality. Reagan lowered the taxes from 70% personal income tax to 28%. In 1983, he added a tax on Social Security benefits. So in 1983, Reagan did impose a tax on Social Security benefits, which had not been taxed up to that point. So you have that to understand. And listen, just educate me on why you think cutting taxes is a good strategy when we have all kinds of things that need to be taken care of. You may not be in love with the Build Back Better legislation, but part of what's in that legislation, which we've talked about the last time I was on here, is replacing lead pipes that's in the ground, and that's a biggie in my opinion. The other charge that I got last time we were on was to find something that Trump did that I consider favorable. Well, here's one. Trump signed a law to make cruelty to animals a federal felony, so the animal abusers will get tougher consequences. How about that? He did that. And he did, let me see, here's another one here. I got a bunch of them from fact check, but some of them he didn't get specific credit for. Trump signed a Save Our Seas Act, which funds $10 million per year to clean up the tons of plastic and garbage in our seas. That's one I can get behind too. That's a good one.
Especially since they find all this microplastic in the stomachs of sea turtles and fish. They ingest this stuff.
Yep. And this is one of the ones that's kind of controversial, but I want to give him some credit because I'm pretty tough on him. But let me give him some credit. The First Step Act was to try to make our justice system, reform our justice system, make it fairer when it comes to inmates and helping people to successfully return to society. Now, that was supported by a bunch of people in the House and in the Senate, but he did sign that into law. So he gets a nod on that. Again, that number's 340-1590. Let's see what else we got here. There's a bunch of them. I promised I would look, and I did look, because I'm a man of my word. There's too many to list all of them. And some of them are very controversial because they'll say he did not do it by himself, or it's a holdover from Obama. And I certainly aren't going to say that, because anything I said that would be a holdover from Obama, you would go absolutely berserk on, since you think very little of President Obama. Let me see here, what else we got. Under Trump, the FDA approved more affordable generic drugs than ever before in history. So he allowed for the creation of more generic drugs. Now, just so you know how that works, let me explain to you. When a drug comes to market initially, it's patented. And you get, I think it's either 17 years or 19 years you get to have that drug be distributed with no competition. At the end of that period, that drug can then be reproduced by other people, because the patent will have expired.
Is this where the generic drugs come from?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That's where the generics come from. So once that patent expires, then a manufacturer can come along and make a generic form of that brand name drug. Now, here's where the American public gets screwed. And I read this in Who Stole the American Dream by Hedrick Smith. And I also saw it in, I can't call his name. The great economist also talked about it. What happens is, at the end of that period of time, if you tweak the drug, okay, some kind of adjustment to the drug that will allow you to get a new term on your patent, then you'll get that term and your patent will protect you from any competition for another 17 or 19 years. I can't remember, it's either 17 or 19 years. if the company, if the FDA says no, there was not a significant enough change to allow you to continue with the patent, oftentimes, and this is something none of you know about, oftentimes the manufacturer of that drug will offer a buyout to the company that was going to make the generic brand. So rather than allow that generic brand to hit the market, they buy out the manufacturer that was going to produce that drug. And so the name brand drug continues, and the person that was going to produce it, the company that was going to produce it, walks away with a pocket full of cash. And in the end, guess who gets screwed? We do. And let me tell you something. I am absolutely amazed at some of your thoughts as conservatives to want to continue to protect the conservative mindset when it is not in your own best interest, it is not in the best interest of your children or your grandchildren. And maybe you can convince me that it is. But if they don't pass the Build Back Better plan, then your kids or your grandkids will lose the benefit of the tax credit that helps them pay for daycare expenses, that allows the husband and the wife to work. That's not about race. That's not about party. That's about economics. Why would you not want your grandchildren or children to have the benefit of that in order for them to continue to be successful in their endeavors to raise their family? I don't get it. I don't want to see where that's antithetical to what we stand for as Americans. That's not good, positive help. I don't know. I'm just mystified at why your folks are so against that. And to me, that's something that's just good old common sense. And we got Steve. Yes, Steve.
How you doing, Rudy?
Okay.
The generic drug thing, let me ask you a question. Say they're successful in producing the generic, does it have to be approved by the FDA before they distribute it?
Well, yes.
Let's say it's made in India or China, which 80% of them are.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
I do research too, Rudy.
Yeah. Well, they have to that formula, which is going to be a variation of the original brand name, has to be approved by the FDA. Yes, for the United States. For the United States,
it has to contain a ingredient, the proprietary ingredient. But it does not have to contain the same fillers, colors, anything else.
Nope, does not.
So you might be allergic to a filler that they use.
Yes.
That in the original drug they didn't use.
That's right.
You're not told that either. You see, America we revolve on hope. Hope in one hand and put something in the other hand and say, see what you got. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. You know how many millions of people are being hurt by this Senator Manchin? Watch me, look at me, I'm so powerful.
Oh, my God, yes.
Why aren't these people on the phone? Why aren't they outside his house and outside of his office? If they're that dire, this country wasn't built on a bunch of wimps sitting home hiding behind a typewriter.
Yeah.
It was built by people getting off their cellulite and going and getting the job done in person. And I don't mean attacking the Capitol. That was an attempted coup. I'm talking about showing up and letting them know that, hey, you're affecting all of us. Now, I can solve this. We just simply pass a law that says no elected official can make more than the lowest paid workers in their district.
Oh, yeah.
And they get the benefit. Right away, it's solved.
Yep.
They'll be giving you everything you want so they can get it. But right now, they got it, so why do they want to give it to you? And Manson is just unbelievable. The people, West Virginia, I mean, that's not exactly Beverly Hills.
No, for sure.
And he's hurting his own people to enrich himself.
I heard today West Virginia is 7th on the list of child poverty. 7th. They're right near the top. And they're
this bill would help him.
Right.
But he don't care. He lives on a yacht, you know that, right? In the Potomac.
I've seen that. He's got this big houseboat there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He calls it a yacht, so you know he's a senator. He should know the difference between a houseboat and a yacht, right?
Yes.
So,
but I've seen.
The point is that until America, it's like they just announced on the news tonight, the national news, that the new variant that we have here, Omicron, is now 73% of all new cases. It is the dominant strain now. COVID-19 is still the dominant killer.
Yes.
And 99% of the hospitalizations and ventilations are COVID-19, unvaccinated.
Yep.
Now, this new one, yes, you can get it, but so far they haven't had any deaths that they can attribute to it, and most people have reported cold-like symptoms lasting for a few days if they're fully vaccinated. I'm triple vaccinated, and I'm sure you are too.
I am, yes.
I still don't go around people. I stay home. I still wear a mask. These people are crazy.
Yeah.
I went and get this. I went to Cleveland Clinic today for an appointment. I walk in. One receptionist has got her mask down around her throat, I guess so her throat wouldn't get COVID. And another one didn't even have a mask on. And it says plainly on the door in a big yellow sign, do not enter without mask.
It does, yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I said to him, does anybody in here read English? It's not cursive. You know, I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm in a hospital and they're not following protocol.
Yeah.
How do you know, these are role models, right?
Well, I think our governor has created such looseness. I talked to my sister the other day. My niece is now in England. She's in the service. Okay. And she was talking to my sister, and she said, your niece told me in Europe it is not even a discussion. You don't go anywhere without your mask. They ain't going to let you in any place without your mask. And everybody wears a mask because that's what the expectation is.
Netherlands announced today they're locking down. They've had enough.
Yeah.
They're just locking it down.
Yeah.
And you know what? America's going to get locked down again. And by the way, Goldman Sachs, as soon as they announce that 73% of all new cases, and it only takes 2 to 3 days to develop the new variant, not 2 weeks.
Right.
So we're just getting Thanksgiving cases now that are ending up in the hospital and then on the ventilators. And pretty soon we're going to be getting the Christmas one.
Yeah.
And then the New Year's one on top of this one. I mean, it's the Walking Dead, Rudy. These people are 20 times, according to CDC, more likely to die unvaccinated if they get them.
I know.
Especially 19. So, I mean, it's just got to be a mandate. You just get vaccinated. It's like polio. No one ever asked you, do you want a polio vaccine? You just got one.
Absolutely.
Because you saw what polio did. And we've lost 806,000 Americans.
Yep.
They're dead. They ain't coming to Christmas.
That's right.
So, I mean, my God, are you people drinking the tap water out there or what?
I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't understand this planet. I'm going back home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, so America, you either wake up or get a funeral arrangement going. Because this variant doesn't have any friends. I mean,
No, it does not.
It's a serial killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just blows my mind, Rudy. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
thank you,
and
Steve.
as for the senator, I don't think he really wants to go home this Christmas to a bunch of people he just screwed.
Yeah.
Especially West Virginia. He's got
Yeah.
a long memory. Always a pleasure, Rudy.
Okay, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. What one of my faithful listeners. Let me throw out a couple of questions I'd like to hear from you. Truth seems to be in short supply right now. I think I tried to talk about this last time I was on. I don't think we got to it. But I'd like to know what your definition of truth is. Please tell me your definition of truth. The number's 340-1590. The other thing I'd like to know is, will you buy an electric car? Would you buy an electric car? Now, interesting, I heard tonight on the way here, Cliff, this is very interesting. They're not taking any more orders for the F-150 Ford truck.
Really?
Electric is sold out.
Sold out.
Sold out.
You know, back in the days when I was making trikes out of Volkswagens, a friend of mine, and he still has it, I'm sure, I'm going to try to talk him out of it, but he had a transmission that was electric. And so this electric transmission, it was electric motor that made the transmission go. It bolted right up to it. And I'm probably going to go for that because electricity is probably not cheaper than gasoline once you start using it full time. I'm sure it's going to probably end up costing a little more for a charge up, but still, to have the whole thing and still be able to be creative, and make something like that.
Well, I got that hybrid, okay? And when I bought that back in April, my wife was like, did you really need another car? Blah, blah, blah. Now, because what happened with the gas prices, I had just beat the gas price thing.
You just slid under the rug on that.
I did. And my car probably would have cost another $4,000 or $5,000 if I hadn't bought it when I did. But in any event, I'm getting like 40 miles to the gallon. I can't tell you how wonderful that is. I get 40 miles to the gallon because I got that hybrid. And I got to believe where we are going, there's going to be more and more electric cars. And I would suspect that in the next 5 years, we are going to see a large percentage of the cars on the road are going to be electric. I'm already now seeing more Teslas in the past 6 months than I've seen in the past few years. It's becoming very popular now to see a Tesla on the road. I'm mostly seeing the smaller one, not the big ones. But would you own an electric car? Just tell me what you think about that. The other thing, and something I'm contemplating, several of my neighbors have done it, solar panels. Do any of you have solar panels? And if you have solar panels, tell me how happy you are with the performance of your solar panels.
We had a guy on Swap Shop selling a couple of them a while back.
Yeah?
You're wondering, wow. And I know that on some of the electric bicycles, there is about a 2 foot by 2 foot square solar panel that you can get some electricity out of. I'm not quite sure how much, because well, I guess they have to charge batteries of some sort.
Yeah. Well, you have to plug it in. If you have a full electric, I got a hybrid, so mine's just part electric and part gas. So I don't really have to plug in, but the others you have to plug in. But that's part of what's in the Build Back Better bill. He wants to put plug-in stations all across the major highways so that to encourage people to have electric cars. And I think what we're going to see, it's going to happen like flat screen TVs. Now, you remember when the flat screen TVs first came out?
Oh, yeah.
The first one we got was like $1,350 on sale.
It's the same thing as back when the VCR first came out.
Yeah.
I think I paid like $1,200 for my first top-loading VCR, which is obsolete now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then after a while, now you can go pick one up for $35.
I know. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Same thing with the flat screen. You get a nice, we just got a really nice 43-inch with the new upgraded LED. And that was like less than $500.
Maybe the electric cars will eventually go down in price a little bit.
I think they will. I think they will. I think if you can wait a couple of years, I think you'll see electric cars that you'll be able to buy in the high 20s, low 30s. Now, supposedly, you can get the small Tesla in the 30 to 35 range, depending upon how it's decked out, but and those you have to order. You can't even go pick them up. They're so hard to come by. But I think we're going to see real soon. I predict in 18 months you'll see the price on them will start to fall. And I really think we're going to see an electric car that will be available in the high 20s, low 30s, which will get it to the point where it's close to being affordable for most people. And then plus, some of the ones that are out there now will be available as used cars, which will make it available for some people. And some people don't believe in buying new cars, so...
you can get pretty good deals on them. You can get extended warranties when they're not the ones that are called into your phone, that are fake ones.
Yeah.
The extended warranties that are real, they can be really good. As long as you get them through the dealership that you purchased the car from.
Yeah.
Don't do it over the phone because there's a lot of scams going on out there. Taking people's money, making them think they're getting an extension to their warranty.
Yeah, that's true.
It scared those guys away. Told them I had a 1969 Volkswagen. Or tell them you got a Rambler. A 1964 Rambler. Can you give me an extended warranty on that? And they'll go away quick.
Okay, listen. Another thing that's bugging me, beside Steve touched on Manchin and the Build Back Better plan. But what really is as a burr under my saddle is this voting rights suppression. Right now, lawmakers in 47 states have voter suppression laws that they're trying to enact. And you know what? I got to tell you, there's a cursed conservative guy I talk with on occasion. We used to be pretty good friends, but our friendship is a little shaky right now. He says there's no such thing as voter suppression. Well, I beg to differ with you. There's like 3 states that have full voter suppression laws, which is Georgia, Arizona, and Texas. And there's multiple states where they're in the process of trying to get voter suppression laws. And again, I'm not going to say anything that you haven't heard me say before. I think that's the coward's way out. I think the people that are doing that are cowards. They don't want to do the hard work. Talk about people taking welfare and how offensive that is to you. How offensive is it to you that the people are so dag-blasted lazy, they don't want to fight for their vote, they want to steal the vote. That's lazy. Now that is un-American. I don't know why you can't see that the way I do. I think that's totally un-American. It's just I want to win. And any way I can win, it's okay. I think that's terrible. And I am personally offended because of all the blood that got spilled by our ancestors who fought for the right to vote. Young people that gave their lives for the right to vote.
The average age was 19.
Of the ones that were in the
In the battles and the wars that get perpetuated over all this stuff, whatever they want to put a war together for, it's always the same bunch of kids that get killed, the 19-year-olds average.
Well, yeah, and you know, I was talking with a friend of mine recently, and I said, you know what? I want them to put the draft back. You know, Charlie Rangel, God rest his soul, was somebody who had been talking about that for some time, about putting the draft back. And because I'll tell you for sure, if you put that draft back, there'll be careful thought about the next time we go to war, because most of the kids that are in the service now are poor kids or kids trying to get enough money to go so that they can go to college, so they do some time in the service. But if you put the mandatory draft back, now you're going to be taking senators' sons,
Yeah.
and congressional people's sons, and making them have to serve. Isn't that interesting? Now what will we think about when it's time to think, when we talk about going to war? I bet you there'll be some very careful thought and deliberation in.
Well, we used to hear about people that were privileged and their dad might have been a senator or a congressman or something, and they went through certain routes to where they didn't get drafted, or they were, because I remember I signed up too, because they were requiring that back about that time for me, but I never got called in. I was never drafted. There wasn't even a worry for anybody about getting drafted at the time, but it's one of those things that is good to be in place when you need it, because once a war breaks out, I don't think anybody's going to want to go.
Yeah, know? Well, listen, I got, my number was 176, and I got the call after they canceled the student deferments, because it was one time we had student deferments, what they called the 2S deferment, and they canceled the 2S deferments. And when they canceled that, I got my letter saying to report to such and such by August, whatever it was, 15th or 18th or something. And I decided that if I'm going to go, I'm not going to run to Canada, I'm not going to run away, but I'm going to go where I want to go. So I ended up going in the Air Force. So that was that. But I think at the very minimum, Israel has a obligation. All young people have to do at least 2 years of service to the government, and I would be in support of that, tell you the truth. If you were required to do 2 years in the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps or the Armed Services, it's some branch of the Armed Forces, you had to do 2 years as your contribution to society. I am perfectly okay with that.
In all my years, I've met a couple of folks who've retired in the military. Not one of them regrets it.
Yeah.
They all picked up skills that they didn't have before. Some of them picked up degrees.
Yeah.
And they pick up these degrees. It goes beyond, because war is just a temporary thing. Once it's over with, of course, everybody gets to, well, supposedly gets to go home and it's over with. But then, all those skills they acquired, that they're going to need to come in handy for other kind of work you're going to want to do once the fighting's done.
I know a young man now who's a retired Marine, 20 years, He's working on his PhD, and I think he'll probably have it. If not in December, it'll be in the spring.
Wow.
He's going to have his PhD, and he did that since he retired from the Marine Corps. So yeah, you can get some good skills. Plus, I think it helps you to grow up, because I don't think everybody that's 18 that goes to college is totally ready to go to college, and the service could in fact provide with additional maturity. So we'll see. Okay. I wonder what happened in. Have we heard about? Did she get that judgment yet, Kim Porter?
Oh.
That's on trial now. I'm looking at it on the monitor there.
Is that the officer that
Yeah,
accidentally used a gun instead of a taser?
Yeah.
I got trouble with thinking about that. It's because first and foremost, I would imagine that a taser would be less weight than a handgun.
There's no question.
And you got to know the difference when you get your hand on it and feel it. The weight is considerably much more lighter than a firearm, and I don't know how that's going to go.
Well, I own firearms, and I know the difference, the weight is from my firearm versus a taser, and it's pretty significant difference.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is going to be, she put on a masterful performance. And I'm going to say this. I'm not sure. Well, everybody agrees that she didn't do it on purpose. But the question is, was she negligent in the fact that she shot him and made that mistake? In my opinion, yes. Even if you feel sorry for her, that's feeling sorry for her is not the question.
When you're firing a weapon, there's a little bit of a kick to it.
Yes.
Which I would imagine wouldn't be such a kick with a taser.
It's not.
Which is already lightweight. And when you fire it, you're not going to have that kick that a bullet coming out of a chamber is going to cause when you fire it. And wow, that's amazing.
Well, she made an instantaneous decision.
Yeah.
She made an instantaneous decision. Now, and all I'm going to say is, no matter how sorry you feel for her, the question is, was that a negligent act? And in my opinion, yes, that was a negligent act.
It doesn't look good.
No.
It doesn't look good for her.
She's gonna get off, though.
You think
I
she'll
do.
get off?
I do think she's gonna get off. I do. Because she's an officer, and I hate to say it because she's white, and Dante Wright was not, and she had 26 years on the force, and she boo-hooed on that stand.
Now, how about the general public? If she gets cleared of this, do you think there'll be repercussions?
She's got 26 years in, so she probably can retire.
Oh, okay.
Or she may have even retired already. But I would just say that it's just my personal opinion is, I don't think she should get the max, but I do think she should have a sentence because she made a negligent act. And I'm going to equate this with, and there's probably people on here that disagree with me, and if you disagree, call up 340-1590. Let me say, let me put it to you like this. If you're driving your car, okay, and you fall asleep in your car and you hit another car and somebody gets injured or dies, there's no doubt in my mind that you didn't do it intentionally to injure somebody or to kill somebody. But the answer now becomes, should I have been driving the car when I was sleepy. Should I have pulled over or whatever I should have done in order to be safe? Now, I will tell you, I did that once. I guess it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I pulled over on the side of the road. I was sleepy. And I just locked the door and went to sleep. And next thing I knew, there was a cop banging on the window. And I opened my eyes and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I was sleepy, officer. And in order for me to be safe, I needed to get a nap." He said, "Okay, I just want to make sure you're okay." I said, yep, I'm okay. So that's, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't have to be right. And the jury is probably not going to agree with me. But I do think that she should get some time. She made a boo-boo. No, oh, that wasn't the call? Okay. So we'll see. The jury's going to come back with a verdict, that's for sure. But, okay, in any event, we said truth. What is truth? Truth is a summary of facts. And truth can also be a compilation of your beliefs.
And pain, a source of pain.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes
yes.
the truth hurts.
Yes. Winnie, how are you?
All right, how you doing, my friend?
Okay.
Good. I was hoping that Kim Potter, I hope she can make some time because she don't know a taser from a gun. She don't need to be on the floor.
Yeah.
I hope that she'll make some time, or try to jail or children time because I know she said mistake, but it's a difference between a taser and a gun. And then, it's in she right-handed, the gun should be on her right side, and the taser should be on her left side.
Yep.
And so she's 26 years experience. Oh, that's a lot to experience. That's a bad mistake, but I hope she'll make some kind of accountable for it. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to see her get life imprisonment or anything like that, but I think she has to be punished. She made a mistake. And negligence, when you have negligence is basically a mistake. If otherwise it can't be negligent. It would be an intentional act. But if you're negligent in injuring someone, you have to be accountable for that. And I feel for her husband and her kids. And from all I can see, she seemed like she might have been a decent person, but I'm sorry, she needs to do some time.
Maybe this she made 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some kind of target for me.
Yeah. So how you doing?
Huh?
How are you doing?
I'm good. Praise the Lord. Doing great. Still hanging in. It's like this here.
All right.
Yeah, but I had when I was over there in Fort Smith, I had a solar panel on top of the roof. On top of it, it stayed a light on a light bill. It's a big difference on a light bill. Solar panel. It really saves a whole lot on the electric bill and things like this here. But it really helps. It really helps.
So you had the solar panels. You have them?
Yeah.
Huh? I'm saying.
We'll be talking. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. I think she was telling me she had solar panels. But anyway, I've talked to 3 or 4 different people about getting the solar panels, and I'm leaning in that direction, Cliff. But the problem is that At this age, I'll be an old man by the time they really start paying off.
You mean once you finally pay them off?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
I do believe I talked to somebody up in Palm Bay a while back who was selling solar panels, and they had some kind of a package where they were financeable. So, but like you said, we got to be old. We're going to be. We might not be here by the time it's paid off.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. I everybody I talk to, you have to have a certain credit rating before they even talk to you. But all of them that I talk to, they offer you different kinds of packages for payments. And even now, FPL is offering a solar package where you can get your solar from them and it be part of your monthly electric bill. The idea with the solar, though, is at some point you build up enough credits that you can sell back some of your energy to the energy supplier like FPL, which in turn will reduce the amount of your bill.
Have you ever looked at some of the YouTube videos about Nikola Tesla's idea for it was actually a coil, the Tesla coil? Have you heard about those?
I've seen the battery.
Yeah, it's like a battery. It sits on the ground, and it goes into the ground, and your ground is the ground. So you could take a light switch, and it's a Wi-Fi type of electricity that they get out of the air, which doesn't make any sense to me. I just had to follow along and try to listen carefully to what they're saying, but it's amazing how it sounds. And he had hundreds of lights light up an area in the woods where he was working and experimenting with this stuff back in the day.
And what's it called?
It's called the Tesla coil.
And this is Elon Musk did this too?
Well, he might be following up on it because he followed up on. There was a group of scientists who put together an experiment to try to recreate what Nikola Tesla had created with this coil, and they were successful in some of their attempts. And it was strange because it did stick. There was a nail that they'd stick into something that would be like Wi-Fi, and the other nail just went into the ground, and they were able to extract electricity into a whole bunch of lights that were on the ground.
I don't doubt that, because I know there's been times when we have developed some pretty significant technology, and because some of the players in the economy kept it from coming forward as a viable product for the public at large.
Like Thomas Edison, perhaps?
Here's an example. When we grew up, and I know you did too, being in the Massachusetts area, everybody had trolley cars and buses.
Yeah.
Right? The trolley cars were all over the place.
And there was a rail that gave power to the trolley cars.
That's right. So what happened? They wanted to sell tires.
Oh.
Goodyear and B.F. Goodrich and all of them, they convinced communities to not fund those rail systems so that more people would buy cars and they could sell more tires.
Wow.
But now, fast forward to 2021, the rail systems are much needed in the metropolitan areas. The Washington, D.C. Metro is fabulous, and I saw them they built that from scratch. And there's more cities. I know in the city of Philadelphia, there was almost no place I couldn't get to on the rail in Philly, and all the rail stops are close by my house. Just go up the street and you catch a trolley and go where you want to go. And now we're trying to do some of that now with local bus lines and this and that and the other. But the auto manufacturers and the tire manufacturers kind of squashed it because they wanted to sell cars and tires.
Wow.
But hey, you know what? And people can't see it. Just like I'm talking about now, about people not being able to see the benefits of what Joe Biden's trying to do for them and their family, people can't see it because they have
blinders.
Yep.
Like that. They only look at what they're looking at, and they don't want to see anything else.
Absolutely. And look, we got these people in the Senate and in the House that are saying the election was stolen. They know that's a lie. They know it's a lie.
Why do they run with lies so much? It seems like
that's why I put
the
that.
conspiracy theorists love this kind of stuff.
That's why I put
Feeds
down
right
what
into
is
them.
truth. Now, my brother-in-law, he tells me all the time. He says you're a little naive because he says my truth is my truth. I go, there can't be multiple truths. He said, but for me, he says this is what you got to get from yourself, brother. My truth is for me real. So, I mean, I understand the point he's making.
If it works for you, it's going to work. That's all that matters. If it works for you.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's just that people that are caught up in their bubble and their tribe, they're only going to believe X. And that's all that matters is X. Truth is unimportant. That the facts, I should say, not truth, but facts are unimportant because I want to believe my tribe.
Well, you know, our buddy Elon Musk and his bunch have been studying some stuff about what's called, have you heard of dark matter?
I think so.
Dark matter occurs out in space somewhere, and it's actually the energy that drives the expansion of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dark matter grows. So my question is, does the darkness of ignorance grow in a similar manner? Because that's what it seems to be going on the planet here.
I think so. I think we're in a very dangerous time right now because people are so willing to stand with their tribe no matter what. And that is, that's a problem. You know, like, you know, even people like Carlos that calls, and I consider him to be relatively reasonable, but even he, the tribe, it is whatever the tribe says.
Yeah.
That's what we believe because we feel that we have to support the tribe no matter what. And the Republicans are good at that, and Democrats are not as good at that. But in any event, well, folks, next time I see you will be after Christmas, right?
Wow, that's right. Christmas is this
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah.
Saturday.
Well, folks, have a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And God bless and be safe. And I'll see you right here on next Monday for the African American Scene.
That you will, because he'll be here, by golly. The African American Scene has archives on YouTube. Go to WPSLTV.com and binge watch you some Rudy Howard's African American Scene. Rudy Howard is an independent insurance agent, so you can contact him about your insurance needs, too. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, on Google Home, Alexa, and the TuneIn app on your smartphone. It's 7 o'clock right now.